Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
And welcome into Life Planning 101 on this Monday morning. Terry Slavens with you, and we're joined today by not Angela Robinson, but by her, I'm going to say other half. I'm not going to say better half. Brett Robinson. Good morning, Brett.
Good morning, and humbly I'll admit that I am the second string to my wife. I recruited up when I married her, but I'm happy to be here and excited today. We have a guest on the phone with us that really excited to have her on here. As everybody knows that listens to our show, we do a lot more than just the financial aspect of an individual's life. As important as that is, everything else that goes along with it. If there's what we call a hole in your cheese, a hole in your plan, and something happens and you're not prepared, then things could go wrong and it could really disrupt your complete plan. So as we go through this, just remember we have a saying that people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And our guest today, you'll understand that more as we go through this. Rhonda Dean is on the phone with us. She's the membership sales manager for AirMedCare Network. Rhonda, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Sure glad to have you on this beautiful morning in Texas. Just kind of want to go through, introduce, and I'll let you open up with a little bit about your system and how you guys operate, and we'll go through this on the radio show here this morning, Rhonda.
Okay.
How long has AirMedCare Network been in business, and kind of help us understand the start and then where you've grown to?
Right. AirMedCare Network is actually the largest air ambulance membership network in the world now. They've been in business for 33 years. They began the operation in West Plains, Missouri. A gentleman there had a tree fall on his son 33 years ago, and he had to get him to the hospital, and it wasn't quick enough, so he started the AirMedCare program, and it has just grown from there.
So it's grown based off an experience that wasn't what they wanted it to be.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Of course, you're based here in Texas. How many locations do you have across the state of Texas?
Across Texas, there are 24 bases. There are 320 bases in all in 38 states, including Alaska and Hawaii.
Okay. And I know we're broadcasting here in the area of Eastland and surrounding areas. So where's your local spots? And of course, you have one here in Eastland, but where else are you located?
Right. We have AirEvac 115 in Eastland, and the closest to the Eastland area are actually Eastland, Brownwood, Abilene, Mineral Wells. In these locations, it's the red, white, and blue AirEvac, of course. However, AirMedCare owns several additional companies other than AirEvac.
Okay, that's great. So in the each one of these locations is fully staffed. What kind of staff do you keep on each location?
Each base is staffed with a medic and a nurse and a pilot, and they all have at least 3 or 4 years of trauma experience. Each base also has an on-duty mechanic, and membership keeps those bases open 24 hours a day, staffed, and also allows those crews to assist with disaster relief efforts.
How do you decide if it's going to be AirEvac or if it's going to be an ambulance, or how is that decided?
Actually, the local 911 emergency personnel, fire, hospitals, they make the determination if an air ambulance is needed, and they contact the closest available aircraft, so which in the Eastern area is AirEvac 115.
Okay, what if you're not a member? What if you're not using AirEvac? How does it work then?
If you're not a member, you're still going to be flown if an aircraft is needed. You're just going to be billed, which currently the bill's averaging about $35,000. If you have the membership, you're not going to pay anything.
That is a big price tag, and they are using the air ambulances more and more often. It's not always for a life-threatening. It might be because you're in a remote location. It might be easier to get you out by air than by a regular ambulance.
Right. They fly for snake bites and several other different reasons. So it's not necessarily, it's just they need to get you to the closest trauma facility in a little amount of time.
That's awesome. It's one of those things you don't want to have to use, but when you need it, it can sure change the outcome. There's no doubt about that. I'm sure you've got many stories that could be good ones that could be life-saving for sure.
Right. I tell folks the crews save your lives and I save you money.
Yeah. I found it interesting on here. Even the pilot is he's not just a pilot. He's trained further than that. Is that correct?
That is correct. Most of them have a military background, so they have several hours of flying experience, and they can land those things on a dime.
So with that being said, they don't only land at the local hospital. They can, depending on what makes the most sense, they can land out in the pasture.
They can land in the pasture. They can land on the highway. They can land just about anywhere, and they offer landing zone instructions for companies or whatever to train you on that as well.
Explain that a little bit more when you say landing instructions for a company. Is that a list of where to land? Yeah.
Right, where to land. They land the helicopter and they give a presentation on what is needed to land that aircraft. So if a company, for instance, has a safety class or a meeting every week, and they need something like that, for instance, the electric companies, and they teach those free of charge. They also offer CPR and continuing education classes. So they land at events in order to educate the community.
So the mindset there again is just taking that planning a little bit further to say, what if? All those next questions we always ask, what if this happens? What plan do you have in place? And this is just to make sure that if it is needed at that business, that time is very critical when it comes to lives, to make sure that there's no unknowns or hurdles to overcome, to make it as quick and seamless as possible, if I understand you correct.
That's correct.
That is great. Well, that's the first part of the segment. We'll be back here in a little bit. Rhonda, stay on, and thanks for being here.
All right, we'll continue with Life Planning 101 right here on KTX KWBY. And welcome back to Life Planning 101 on this beautiful Monday morning. We have a great topic here, Brett, air evac, and definitely something that's very, very important. A lot of lives are saved because of this service, and especially when time is of the essence.
Yeah, we all have stories that they're maybe they're ours, maybe they're somebody else's, and I remember years ago, I had a nephew in Montana out on the ranch had a seizure, and they had to get the helicopter out there to fly him into the city, and if they had to drive the hour and a half, 2 hours to get there, they don't know what would have happened. So being able to have this availability is incredible. So a lot of times everything that we do at Kennedy Financial is planning for what's important to you, and most always what's important is going to be your family. It's going to be your kids, your spouse, your loved ones. And when you start thinking through these things, and you get the opportunity of a program like this, and I know Rhonda says, it's not something that you want to ever have to use, but if you need it, you're going to be very glad that you had it available. And Rhonda, if you could explain a little bit, always intrigued by what you can do in a helicopter, because if you're being flown in a helicopter, a lot of times there's things that are going to be needed, and it's not just a ride where you're up there taking a scenic view and en route to the hospital. What are they able to do for you? What can they provide in the the air ambulance, if you will?
They can pretty much do anything in the ambulance, even in that small space. I'm not as familiar with that. I do hear the stories of people that have been flown and say that they saved their life, that they would be dead if it wasn't for them now, and that it was priceless. Of course, those that have the membership are happier, but those that don't do say that they saved their lives. The pilots and the nurse and the medics would have to speak more to what all they can do.
Gotcha. I know we've had an individual that used to work with us, and she got one of those flights, and she said it's not the flight I wanted to have for a first helicopter ride, but she was sure glad to have it available, and she took this program here, AirMedCare out of Eastland, and it did save her life. There's something more to your program, the fixed wing aircraft. If you could explain what that program is and exactly what the benefits are there.
Right. We have several fixed-wing aircraft as well that are included in the membership. It's primarily used for infants, transporting infants, because they need more machinery and medical equipment, and also transplant patients. For instance, I had a gentleman in Graham that had a vacation home in Ruidoso, and it coordinates with a nurse and the patient as soon as you sign up for the membership, and it flew him on a helicopter from Ruidoso to Lubbock, and then on Lubbock on a fixed wing to Dallas. So they can do all that within a 3.5 hour time frame, and got him to his transplant location.
Wow, that's amazing. How far does that fly? If it needs to be to fly you to New York, does it do that?
It will, yes. The fixed wing can fly. The helicopter can fly about 150-mile radius, so that's why they use the fixed wings to get you further. That is included in the membership. Okay,
and it seems like that's strategically placed so you can get within the miles that you need to be, and I'm sure you guys have it all mapped out to be as quick as possible and as large of outreach as possible.
Right. And they have the fixed-wing aircraft are also in like Montana and the more isolated areas that they have to go further.
So if you're traveling, because we have clients and listeners all over the United States, no matter where you're at, if I'm from Eastland and I'm traveling in Montana and something happens, then I'm able to utilize the service there as a member.
Yes. We even have bases in Hawaii now. There are 6 bases in Hawaii that just opened up this year.
Well, another reason for us to open a firm in Hawaii, and I think that'd be a great place to be, especially during the winter.
I'll find a radio station over there and we'll all go. So.
That's right.
Hey, tell us about the Fly Me Home aspect of your program, Rhonda.
We just added this year, about a year and a half, Fly You Home. It's a new service that we are offering. It's mainly for those who travel or work. You know, if you're hospitalized 150 miles or more from home and would like to transfer to your home hospital, it coordinates hospital-to-hospital transfer. And it flies you and a family member on a jet. They call it an ICU jet because it has all the medical equipment you need for your particular situation. It also flies mortal remains. A lot of folks don't like to think about that, but I've heard folks say they had a family member die in Seattle, and to get them back home was costly. So it is an additional $134 a year, but seems to be well worth it.
Well, that's something, again, you don't want to talk about, but when it happens, and again, I grew up in Montana, and that's one of the jokes I have with Angela is I found out when you have to pay for the travels, I said, well, I'm just going to aggravate her one last time. So I told her I wanted to be flown back to Montana, and so that's a running joke we have. But I do have a question for you. I found it interesting. It says even college children are covered. Does that mean they're covered while they're living at home, or what if they're living in the dorms at a college out of state?
They are covered while they're at college. College children, while they're they're still considered under your roof.
That's amazing. So they can be from Eastland and going to college in Dallas or Atlanta, and they're still covered.
Right. They are covered under the program. Basically, membership covers everyone under the roof, and they use that term because it could be your mother's moved in with your girlfriend, your boyfriend today, your Aunt Betsy, so it's everyone under your roof.
Is there a limit to that?
No, I've had people with foster children sign up to 15.
Oh my gosh.
That's a bunch of folks. I know y'all are the largest of the air ambulance services, and you're in 38 states. What happens if you're in a state that doesn't have a facility available?
Most of those additional states have a fixed wing that are based in a state that is the next state over, so they can still get to you with a fixed wing aircraft.
Okay, so that's good to know.
So how does that work? Then it's going to, obviously the fixed wing is going to have to land on an airstrip, and then they bring you the ambulance is going to transport. Is that how that works?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any stories that you could share that are life changing? We've got just a minute left here before break, but maybe you can lead us into one.
I have a story of a gentleman in Abilene that's actually been flown 3 times. He's had heart attacks, strokes, and actually fell and broke his hip. And he was flown on 3 different occasions. And his stories are he makes them funny because he says every time he gets in that aircraft, they make him mad because they won't let him sit up and look out the window.
He knows his way around the aircraft better than he'd probably like to know as well.
Right.
Well,
but I've heard all sorts of stories. There's been 4-wheeler accidents, snake bites. Just everyone I've talked to has said that it was just life-changing, that they would not have lived. I had one gentleman that said he would never be flown, and he was flown, didn't have a choice, and he called me and said he would have to eat his words.
Yeah. Well, glad he got to call you.
All
right.
We'll go ahead and take our final break. When we come back, I guess we'll cut through the chase and tell our listeners, how do you sign up for this great service? We'll be back with more Life Planning 101 right after this on KATX KWBY. All right, final segment of Life Planning 101 on this marvelous Monday morning. Terry Slavens with you, Brett Robinson in studio with us, Rhonda Dean on the phone with us, and we're going to wrap this up talking about how do you get this great service and what's it going to cost me?
Yes. It's always, everybody wants to look at what the cost is, and rightfully so. What's this going to cost me for the reward and the benefit that I'm going to get? And with that in mind, Rhonda said this earlier, and I'll bring you back to those that didn't have the membership but still got the care flight. Even though they had that out-of-pocket cost of, what'd you say, Rhonda, the average is about $35,000? Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So even those that had to pay that or figure out how to pay that out of pocket said it was worth it. So really the question is, if that's worth it for somebody that needed it, what if you had this membership? And I think after Rhonda goes through how the membership works, you might find this beneficial and well cost effective. But Rhonda, help us understand the different the cost and then the different ways, because there's individual, there's business, and the ways that you can utilize your services.
Right. You can enroll in membership. Membership covers everyone under your roof, and the price is $85 a year for standard membership. If you're over 60, it's $65 a year. However, discounts may be available, so give me a call or get in touch with me, and I can connect you with those discounts. Saving money is always important. You can also sign up. Businesses can enroll their employees and get a discount on that as well and give them an added benefit.
Okay. Now, help us understand, when you say $85 per year, and it's myself and spouse and 2 kids. So are we paying $85 per each one of us, or how's that work?
It's $85 a year for everyone. It's for your household.
So you're telling me that this security that I have, that if something happens to one of my children, that's $85 for my household?
Yes. And we have multi-year plans available as well, and those are basically people want to lock in the event of a price increase. You can sign up for 3 or 5 or 10 years and lock that in. Price went up this past June, so you just never know.
Yeah, that's amazing. Does that cost cover? Because we have, again, listeners all over. Is it going to be a different cost in different parts of the country?
No, that is the standard cost for the United States. And in the event you're flown, you don't pay a dime.
Wow, if you stop and really think about the security that you have there, and when we opened this segment today, we talk about we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan, and we're talking about something here that's a whole lot more important than money. We're talking about loved ones, we're talking about life, and this is just a valuable foundation of your plan to be able to take care of what's important to you. And for a cost of $85 a year, and if you've hit the stage and the wonderful birthday of 65, or is it 65, or what age do you get to get at age 60, you're able to get the household for $65. So if I hear that right, that's when you move back in with your parents when they hit 65.
Rhonda, how can our listeners get in touch with you if they want to sign up for this great service that you have?
They can give me a call at 940-327-7767 or email me at Rhonda, RHONDA, .Dean, DEAN, at AirMedCareNetwork.com.
Do you have a website, I'm assuming, there too, that they can get on and brief through what we've gone over today?
I do have a website. It's amcnrep.com/Rhonda-Dean.
Great.
A little complicated.
They never make it easy for us, that's for sure. A quick story. I actually, and this was many years ago, it was back in the late 70s. I broke my leg in the Lake of the Ozarks, severely fractured my leg. And if you've ever been to the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri, it's very hilly. And my personal physician wanted me to go to St. Louis. He didn't want me to stay in the Lake of the Ozarks. And they said that if they took me by regular ambulance, it would take a very long time because the ambulances would always overheat in the hills of Missouri. So they helicoptered me. But my mother, being the cheap person she was like, couldn't we just put him in the back seat and prop his leg up? And the doctor said, I don't advise that. So.
She's saying, toughen up,
yeah,
Terry, toughen up.
Fantastic information, Brett and Rhonda. It's been, this is a great service.
It's good to have in there. And Rhonda, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you getting on. And the individuals that we work with, we have a lot that travel, whether it's for work or for just traveling for vacation. It's not just something to have in your backyard. It's something to carry with you. So, Rhonda, we sure appreciate you being on today and taking your time. And we hope the listeners take advantage of this awesome opportunity to take care of themselves and their families. Always remember, you can join our weekly life lessons to learn about many different aspects of your planning life at Kennedy-Financial.com. You can listen to the rebroadcast of this. It's every Saturday morning. Terry, what time is that?
Saturday, 9 a.m. on KTX and KWBY.
And then also, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. It's at lifeplanning@Kennedy-Financial.com. God bless everybody. God bless the USFA, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Calton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.